To now see Knoxville Gay Men's Chorus lit up at the Bijou Theater on a marquee, and someone can literally walk, a 9-year-old boy can walk down Gay Street and know for sure that there's a place for them to grow up and be, I feel like we did a great job of changing our community.
You also shared a video with us, Chris, that I'm really excited to put out here for everybody. So tell us about Give Me a Holler.
Oh, well, Giving Me a Holler accidentally became my quarantine baby. I didn't mean to give birth this year, but it's what it turned into. Give Me a Holler is a song that I wrote about 15 years ago now when I was working on The Night of 1,000 Dollies, which some people try to take the credit for, but that was my idea, darlings. And I sat down one day and just thought, if Dolly Parton ever actually hired me to do anything, like what would I do? Like, and so I sat down to write what I thought would be a cute Dolly Parton song. And Give Me a Holler. I grew up in a holler in the country, a place back in the country where, you know, Knoxville knows about hollers. But I had never heard a song that played on the duality of hollering at somebody and living in a holler. So last year when I was on tour with Latrice, I got to open for her, and I got to kind of debut that song in Canada in 13 cities, and people, it got stuck in their heads and they really liked it and kept singing it. And so when I had the opportunity earlier this year after the pandemic had hit, I really needed to come home and see some green things and see my family and check on them. And I'd been putting this project off for a long time, and I thought, well, I can't produce it in Florida. I don't have any musicians here. Nobody knows about bluegrass music. New York didn't make sense to me either. And so thankfully, Jada Starr and Barry J, and Jada is actually Dolly Parton's niece, and they are singing backup for me on the track, and they're in the video. They hooked me up with the producer, Trevor Reddick. And so I came home and snuck in earlier this year and kind of ran around in the hollers in some overalls and made a little video that we shot ourselves. I just handed Ethan Brewer my phone and said, here, girl, go. And so I now have a fully produced song and video out, which is the first time I've ever done anything like that. I've produced lots of other content for other people and choirs and churches and all that you guys already know about me, but I've never really had the support to put my own art out there this way. So that's what I've been doing. And I sat in my living room and sang it to a professional track that I have for my own single now. So I wish I could have come home and done a video release party. I really wanted to come and take over like the Laurel Theater or something and have an event. But this was not the year for public events. So yeah.
Growing up in Tennessee, I knew every face I'd see. Preacher, teacher, farmer, miner, and friend. But I grew up and I got bored. I followed my dreams and I thought I'd soar. Now I wish that I could go back again. Give me a holler and a piece of land. Give me a neighbor who will lend a helping hand. Give me a herd of cattle as white as snow. The next time you're in town, give me a holler. has got me down. I'm sick and tired of concrete ground. Hurts my heart, I gotta look to find a tree. Seems like things have changed so much. Maybe I'm just out of touch. I reckon I'll have to go back home and see. Give me a holler and a big red barn. Give me tobacco leaves as long as my arm. Give me a church, a school, a family, and a bar. And the next time you're in town, give me a holler. Give me a holler and a clear blue sky. Give me a million stars looking down like fireflies. Give me a chance to bring my problems down to size. The next time you're in town, give me a holler.
Yeah, so definitely tell us about the show.
So I guess I gave birth twice this year. I didn't mean that I had twins. You really, we're really having babies over here. I also had earlier in the year done a little project where I was interviewing other drag husbands live on my social media. And my wonderful husband actually made a phone call to the producers of RuPaul's Drag Race, World of Wonder. And we reached an agreement where I've got 4 episodes of a new show coming out this winter called All the Queen's Men. And it's going to be available first on WoW Presents Plus around Thanksgiving. And then around Christmas, it should be available on YouTube. And I sit and talk to 2 other RuPaul's Drag Race husbands each week, and we kind of commiserate about the experience of being betrothed to one of the luxurious stars of this television show. Sometimes that's a wonderful blessing, and sometimes it's a lot to deal with. And so we get to find out a little bit more, not only about those lives, but about the lives of the husbands and what they do in addition to their careers with their husbands. Some of them have their own jobs. Some of them work with their husbands. We've all got different stories, and I'm really excited to kind of keep doing the work I've been doing of helping gay guys tell their story.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be interesting too, because I know my friends that do drag, they said, you know, they have this public persona, and the people don't want to let them out of that. Like they, you know, like they always want to talk to them like they're in drag and they have this attitude, and sometimes that's not who you are at that moment, and that's got to be interesting.
I work for Latrice, but I'm not married to her. If I thought that she was real, we would be in a very complicated situation. Some performers are in fact trans individuals who then do sort of become their character, or they take a chosen name that is who they identify with or as on a daily basis. But Tim Wilcots is sitting next to me. I mean, Latrice is in there somewhere, but she's going to take an hour and a half or so to really show up. And so if that's what I'm waiting on, no.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, I haven't watched it yet, but I think it's going to be super interesting to listen to that, because it is going to be, there's going to be a complicated relationship. And you guys have obviously made it work amazingly, but I'm sure it's a struggle for some people, especially at the beginning. People who, like Latrice, who run Drag Race, and then all of a sudden the whole world knows who you are. That's going to be much different as well.
Much different, yeah.
So we are also excited to welcome Bleu Copas, who is the co-founder of the Knoxville Gay Men's Chorus. Started the chorus with Chris. So would you tell us the story of how this all came about, how you guys got the idea for this, how you met, and what happened?
Well, I'm just busy smiling at Blue right now. I feel like I'm going straight back in the day. I had done this program at Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. Say that 5 times fast. called Forget Me Nots that was a World AIDS Day concert in 2010, I think. And Blue had come to the church service the next morning. I don't think you were at the concert, right? But you came to the church service the next day.
Right.
And a friend of mine sang this Steve Marzullo song called Remember. And we had done some selections from Angels in America. And I was preaching the sermon that day. It was the only time I ever preached the sermon at TVUC. And Blue was very moved by what I had done that day, and we spoke after. And at that time, we were not so much worried about Donald Trump as we were about Stacey Cantfield. And as we were busy protesting him and going to his office and letting him know why his behavior was unacceptable, in the middle of all that, Blue said, "You know, I have this crazy idea to make a gay men's chorus in Knoxville." And I thought, girl, you are crazy. What are you talking about? These people are never going to get together and sing. But he kind of wouldn't stop. He really made me believe in his idea. And he made me believe that I had the rest of what he needed to make it happen. He was very much making icons and logos and ready to like fundraise and very much on top of the organizational side of things. But he wasn't a pianist or a conductor. And so when we met, he was very new to the community, and it kind of offered a new spark of trust and interest for people because it was a new voice that brought people together. And I really feel like that is the magic of Blue. He really helped people get together and see why we were getting together more than the individual disagreements we may have had.
Yeah, I think in many ways we balanced each other, and Christopher alluded to me being there for that service that morning, and so my first dose of Christopher was seeing how moving he could be, knowing exactly what to say. You could just feel his touch on the whole program and the flow, and I was at a very emotional place, having just lost a really good friend and going through a really uncomfortable funeral service that didn't feel like my friend Kevin. And that following weekend was my first weekend in Knoxville and moving down from Johnson City, and went to TVUC. I was ripe for the picking. And so maybe I was a little too emotionally raw, but it was perfect for me to be there in that spot. And so I appreciated him from the get-go before I even knew who he was. And then plus, like he said, when I had come from Johnson City, I didn't have anything to lose with this idea, thinking that it was just a pipe dream. And I'm one to really overanalyze way too much. And so it could have potentially been years down the road that something like this came out of that. But Christopher had the courage. And I think it's also neat. Stacey Cantfield, I think he was a state senator. And so that particular year that we ended up in Nashville at the same time and fighting Stacey's move to make it illegal for teachers to say gay in schools, and for kids to try to keep kids from even hearing that we exist, let alone understanding how loving, how much of a sense of community there was for us. And so I find that ironic that we were fighting that, and then it turned into this place where kids see us in our most raw, with so much love, with music as it connects us all. What do you think, Christopher?
I think Blue and I knew very quickly about each other, that we had been through some things and that we are both very emotional creatures. And I was originally from Cumberland Gap area, Harrogate, Tennessee, about an hour and a half north of Knoxville. I lived there mostly since 1999, except for my excursions to New York and things like that. But I felt like I had been told that I was the only one going through what I was going through. And when I met Blue, I felt like he knew that that wasn't true. And I started to see the potential for when men would come together to sing about their story, that we could tell each other those stories and be able to tell those stories on stage through music. Because at the time, Ben Byers and Todd Kramer were just about the only homosexuals willing to talk to the media in Knoxville. There were not many people out that had a local voice. There was not an example like Eddie Manis at that time for me. So to now see Knoxville Gay Men's Chorus lit up at the Bijou Theater on a marquee, and someone can literally walk, a 9-year-old boy can walk down Gay Street and know for sure that there's a place for them to grow up and be, I feel like we did a great job of changing our community. I feel like the Knoxville Gay Men's Chorus has become a thriving and necessary organization in East Tennessee and really stands out for the work that it continues to do. And I'm just so glad that I was there to say yes and to help tell my own story selfishly and to feel that level of understanding and community that we created.
Mm-hmm. And just that piece of the marquee for us as gay men to be able to announce that, to be us out, but also for that kid. And you'll be happy to know pretty much every concert cycle, that kid walking down Gay Street is always referred to, because Christopher and I knew growing up in Tennessee what it was like to not really have a picture of what it would be like to be a happy gay man. For me, it was the epitome of misery and death and sin, and just, I mean, it was painful.
When we started, there were even debates as to whether to include the name, the word gay in the name of the chorus. And mm-hmm. Blue and I really had to fight and say, no, that is the point of this choir. Mm-hmm. The point is that we are gay and we are going to come together and stand and tell our stories. That visibility is powerful for us and for that 9-year-old boy or girl and their families. To see us supporting each other, loving each other with our music, it's powerful.
Yeah, and it goes back to the whole visibility issue of why Gay Men's Chorus was started in the first place. That's really awesome, guys. Thank you for sharing that. And here we are 8 years later, and things are going great.
And thank you for keeping the baby alive and growing it up. I said I took it to elementary school. Somebody else that we don't talk about took her to high school, and you took her to college, and she graduated and got all the degrees now.
Awesome. Yes, thank you, Alan.
I'll be your bridge, your troubled water. When you're down, I will carry you like a bridge, your troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're weary, feeling small,
out. When you're on the street, my Lord, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness falls, pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. I'll be your bridge or troubled water. When you're down, I will carry you like a bridge or troubled water. I will lay me down.
Sail on, silver girl. Sail on by. The time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way.